So earlier today, Brian Gutekunst spoke with some Packers reporters and had many different things to say about the current situation in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, with Jordan Love. And I want to look at some of these answers because it's pretty interesting the way that Gutekunst goes about answering some of these things. Some pretty direct questions he sort of skirts around, gives sort of all options are possible kind of answer. And I think it's pretty interesting as we get much closer to Aaron Rodgers making his decision, the Packers deciding what to do going forward. So first off, as we all know, Aaron Rodgers was in his 4-day darkness retreat a week or so back. And apparently since that point, him and Rodgers Brian Gutekunst and Aaron Rodgers haven't really had many discussions, or really any besides a few texts. It says here from PackersNews.com report, not much to report on that one. Gutekunst said, we really haven't had any conversations yet, so not a lot of answers there. There's been some text communication he shared, but said the two have not spoken in person since the conclusion of the 2022 season. And now with free agency about 2 weeks away on March 15th, that's sort of been the day that the Packers sort of thought that maybe Rodgers would give an answer and they would be able to move forward going forward. And Brian Gutekunst once again today said that he thinks that the decision will be made before free agency starts on the 15th and that it would be much more helpful to the team. So it really feels like the answer that we've all been wondering, what is it going to be? Is he going to be traded? Is he going to stay? Is he going to retire? It really seems like that should be coming very, very soon. So we should expect that in the next couple weeks. And then one interesting question, he gets asked point blank, do you want him back? Do you want Aaron Rodgers back? And listen to what he says. He says, those discussions have to happen in making sure it's the right fit. But obviously we know the kind of player that Aaron is. And once we have those conversations, we'll be able to move forward and we'll have more to say. So it is pretty clear that Brian Gutekunst doesn't want to say that, yes, he wants Rodgers back. He could have easily said, if he really wants Rodgers back fully, 100%, when asked that question, he would have said, yes, of course we want him back. But he doesn't. He said, we have to make sure it's the right fit, which I think Rodgers has an idea of what he wants his team to look like. Brian Gutekunst probably also has an idea of what he wants his team to look like. And so that answer right there sort of gives me more inclination to believe that a trade is pretty likely. It's very possible, just in the way that Brian Gutekunst is answering these questions. He also says, he's a great player, but until we have those conversations, all options are on the table right now. So anything is possible, as we all know. No concrete answer there, but it really doesn't sound like he's committed to Rodgers. Then from Bill Huber of Sports Illustrated, he was one of the reporters talking with Gutekunst, and apparently Brian Gutekunst got asked the hypothetical question, and this is the question. Is it possible Rodgers will decide he wants to return to Green Bay, but Gutekunst will tell him he's ready to hand the offense to Jordan Love? Until we have those conversations, I think that's pretty hypothetical, but like I said, everything is on the table. And that has been one of the things I've been really wondering about Jordan Love and Brian Gutekunst is Brian Gutekunst's actual desire to just 100% move to Jordan Love in 2023, and he's just not trying to come out there and really say exactly what his desire is, because he could have closed the door and say, if Rodgers wants to come back, we want him back 100%, but he has not said that. He said it needs to be the right fit. He said that Rodgers is a great player, but all options are on the table, and then he says here, if Rodgers wants to come back even, would he tell him he's ready to hand the offense to Jordan Love? And he said, everything is on the table. So pretty much every single one of those answers points to Gutekunst really being ready to move to Jordan Love, and so seeing a trade happen in the next 2 weeks would not shock me. And as I've said in the past, the fact that Brian Gutekunst traded up to draft Jordan Love in the first round back in 2020, when many people did not see that coming. They thought it was a bad idea. We should have, drafted someone else to be able to give the Packers a weapon right then to help Rodgers in that squad, which I think makes sense. At the same time, Gutekunst was thinking about the future. And the fact that he took that risk, drafted Jordan Love, and has been sitting there for 3 years hearing people say, that was a bad move by Brian Gutekunst. That was a bad move by Brian Gutekunst. I think that he wants people to see how good he thinks Jordan Love is, and I think that he wants to see Jordan Love play, very much so. And he even talked about Jordan Love here, and he gave a very interesting answer I want to share. And so here it is from PackersNews.com. They say this. This is from Gutekunst. It takes most of these quarterbacks a little bit of time to learn how to win, Gutekunst said, but he needs to play Jordan Love. I think that's the next step in his progression. I think it takes most of these quarterbacks a lot of time to learn how to win, and it's one thing to play well and make throws and make plays, but then it's another thing to lead your team to wins, and I think that takes time. I'm excited to see Jordan grow and play, and I certainly expect that to be here. Now, that sounds pretty clear that the Packers are going to have Jordan Love as a starter at some point in the future, and if it's not in 2023, if somehow the Packers and Rodgers come to some kind of agreement I think that's definitely in 2024 with that kind of answer, because I don't see Jordan Love sticking around here not playing in his 5th season if he does come back in 2024. I think at that point, if the Packers were still somehow rocking with Rodgers, that Jordan Love would be out the door, be traded somewhere, because he's not just going to sit on the bench for the rest of his career. So the fact that Brian Gutekunst said he certainly expects Jordan Love to see him play in Green Bay is pretty telling that Jordan Love is going to start sometime soon. Maybe somehow the Packers and Rodgers can be on the same page, but from every answer from Brian Gutekunst, my gut is telling me that Brian Gutekunst's intention is for Jordan Love to be the quarterback of the Packers in 2023. That is what I think he actually believes and what he really wants to do. And we've seen from both sides, from Rodgers and the Packers front office, that they've both been like, if they decide they want to move on, no hard feelings, it's fine. We still like the guy, like all that kind of stuff. And so it really feels like it's time for Jordan Love, from Brian Gutekunst saying he expects Jordan Love to be playing in Green Bay. You throw in the fact that he said all the other things I already mentioned. It has to be the right fit with Rodgers. All options are on the table. Even if Rodgers wanted to come back, he could potentially want to say, you know what, we're giving it to Jordan Love. Every single answer there's no answer there that gives me any reason to think that Gutekunst is like all in on Rodgers in 2023. I do think there's like a smaller chance that they somehow, like Rodgers maybe is able to buy into what Gutekunst wants to do, which I'm not sure what that is. We've heard Rodgers doesn't want to see lots of these veteran players go, seemingly. And who knows what Brian Gutekunst's plan is exactly. And I'm really leaning toward Brian Gutekunst really thinking it's time to move to Jordan Love. So we'll see if this comes to fruition the next couple weeks and really know what the future of the Packers looks like going forward, because clearly this is a massive moment for the organization, and it will be for years and years to come, because if we trade Rodgers, it's time to move to Jordan Love. We'll get draft picks back as well. Or Rodgers retires and says, you know what, I want to finish my career. I'm done. That could happen too, which I feel like it's less likely, but anything is on the table. So it's going to be interesting next year, because if the Packers decide to move to Jordan Love, I'm excited, honestly, to see what he can do, because there's been so many, in the moments he's played, especially against the Eagles this past year, there were some nice looking throws there. He was looking really good, and I'm honestly excited to see if Jordan Love becomes a quarterback in 2023 for the Packers. I'm really excited to see what this team can be, and I don't see why we can't be a very competitive team even if Jordan Love takes over. Sure, we should give him time to develop and grow. He won't be perfect on day one, but I think that there's lots of reasons to be hopeful for the Packers. So that is pretty much what Brian Gutekunst had to say in this. One final thing. He was asked a little bit about trade talks, and he said he's always talking with teams, and he said they haven't talked about specifics. So who knows? Maybe they're talking secretly, maybe not, but that's the final thing there. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Feel free to subscribe for more Packers content, Packers videos, all things Packers. And if you would like to read my newsletter, link down below. But that is all for this video, and I'll see you guys next time.